Here are 5 reasons that having a great relationship with a lender or an investor can benefit you in the long run, especially when it comes to investing into stuff like passive income. Sometimes you get opportunities which are really just for a moment's notice. After that, if you don't take advantage of that opportunity, somebody else could come in and take that investment. And I've had that happen several times in my life. And so I've looked for ways that I can minimize the chances of me missing out on opportunities because I didn't have capital ready, available right that second. Maybe I just invested into something and then another great opportunity comes my way. Well, I want to be able to have more capital, more dry powder that I can put towards that investment. So having a great relationship with a lender has really solved a lot of those problems for me. And sometimes it's a lender, sometimes it's like an investor, somebody like that, but you want to have that person in your life in order to help you scale your portfolio. So I do not recommend doing this without a track record, by the way. I recommend having a good partnership relationship with these people so that you can go in on these investments. So for example, let's say I wanted to run a Bitcoin mining business. I could find somebody who has capital that they want to contribute to a mining company. And I could be the person that has the expertise that it takes in order to run this mining business profitably. If I have business experience, if I have the right connections to source these miners, to have cheap electricity, to have the facility built out, if I have those relationships built out, chances are the person that has all the capital doesn't have all that built out. And so because I have that sweat equity aspect of it, I want to manage it, I want to put in the work, they're willing to put up their money because they believe in my ability to execute on what they're doing. So this becomes kind of like a partnership where you're going into this business together and you're performing whatever needs to be done in order to make this a successful company. Now, the first thing that stands out about all of this is just the relationship aspect of it. So the first reason why you want to have a good relationship is really just because of the relationship, because this is no longer just, hey, I need to use some money for this investment and that investment and that investment. No, this is a relationship that you're building. So this is the same person that you work with for years and years and years, and they begin to trust you. It's no longer very transactional. It becomes a relationship where they want to be a part of your deals just because they like you as a person. And trust me, that does play a role. It's not all just hard facts and numbers. Now, the second reason I believe that this is really important is that sometimes you just really need a quick turnaround. So for example, if I want to close on something, and let's say I'm competing against 2 or 3 other offers, I need to be able to put my offer forward and have a quick time to close. Sometimes the biggest priority for the person selling the asset is that they want to close in 2 weeks. Well, if I don't have a pre-established relationship with the lender, if I'm not working with that lender all the time, it might take them a while to close because they don't know me. I'm just a random person that's approached them. However, if I build up that relationship over time, I can get that quick turnaround and I can access capital a lot more quickly. And so when I put in an offer on something, let's say I'm buying a private jet or maybe a house or a commercial building, when I put in that offer, my offer carries a lot of weight because I have a relationship with the bank and I can get that quick turnaround time. And usually it's faster than other people as well. So my offer seems more attractive. If everybody else is closing in 4 weeks and I'm closing in 2, it's likely that the seller is going to want to take my offer because there's just less time for the transaction to fall apart. And they like that. They like short transaction times because that gets them paid earlier and they don't have to stress about it for 2 months. And you're a very motivated buyer if you're able to achieve those terms. The third reason that you want to build a relationship with your lender is that you're going to have more trust. At the very beginning of these relationships, it's always a little bit interesting because you're trying to establish trust with this lender or this investor, right? You are providing to them your track record, maybe different information that you have, different facts that you have in your company or things that you've done. You can show them your portfolio, you can show them the assets that you're holding, right? And so in order to establish their trust, you are showing them these things. It's not based on your track record with them. However, when you're able to build a track record with them personally, that builds a lot of trust. And when you have that trust in place, all of a sudden they're not triple, quadruple checking your documents. They check it one time and they trust you. They're like, oh, okay, this is what you say, then this is what it must be. They stop doing all the millions of rounds of verification. And so that's how we're getting that turnaround time down significantly because they've just lent to you the other day, right? Think about it. If they just lent to you last month and they lent to you the month before that and the month before that and the month before that, and you've been making all your payments on time, what are the chances that you're going to continue making payments on time? The chances are pretty high. And so for them, it's a pretty safe bet to lend you more money. They know that, hey, you've already borrowed money from us a ton of times. We know that you're using it for good projects. We know that you typically make money on your projects, so you're willing to pay us. And so the more you develop that relationship, the more trust that exists between you two, and it allows for rapid growth. The fourth reason, and it kind of contributes to all of these, but just having documents on file. So for example, imagine that you're buying something every single month, having to resubmit your financial statements, your P&Ls, all those financial documents every single month, having to wait for the bank to read through all of them and verify things, that takes a long time. So if you could just have documents on file, it's likely that you can submit documents one time and they can just pull those documents for the next transaction, and you don't have to resubmit everything. So it really simplifies the process for you and for the bank. They don't have to go through a million documents every single time. They already have your general documents on file, and maybe they're gonna need like 1 or 2 new statements from the bank, but for the most part, they have your profile built out. So they have your documents on file, and you're just providing any additional little details that they might need in order to make this transaction work. But it's a huge benefit and it saves you a lot of time. And lastly, the fifth reason that I believe it's very important to have a good relationship with the lender is that sometimes you have an opportunity to quickly scale. So for example, if you're buying an asset, sometimes that person, the seller, has other assets. So the other day, my investors and I, we were buying a private jet. And so we made an offer on the jet, and the seller's like, oh, you like this jet? I actually have other jets. And so he showed us his whole portfolio of jets. And we were only able to access the rest of the fleet because we had a solid lender in place. We knew that we could scale our portfolio really quickly and we could get quick access to capital because we had that relationship. This is somebody that we've funded things with before. We've taken out loans. We've used them for these different assets and these projects, these investments. And so that lender was very comfortable with us. That lender has worked with us before. They know exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it. They know how we make money out of this model, and they know that we're also going to make our payments because we have a history with them. So it gives us really quick access to capital. Sometimes you just need capital the next day, and if you have a good lender, if that person can provide that for you, you can take advantage of a lot of opportunities that other people would just simply miss out on because you've built and cultivated that relationship with your lender. If you have a good relationship with the lender, if you have a good relationship with the bank, it benefits you in the long run because you can use that capital whenever you have an opportunity that comes your way to create passive income, to make an investment, and that way you can pull the trigger with confidence because you know your lender is going to back you. They want you to win. They're going to do everything they can in order to get you approved. All right, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.